Hi, I'm Antonio Vargas, and I teach ancient philosophy. And in this series of videos, I'm giving short intros to the books of Proclus, a late Platonist philosopher from the 5th century of our era. And in the last video, I talked about the first volume of the Cambridge translation of his commentary on Plato's dialogue, the Timaeus. And now I'm going to continue and talk about the second volume of that translation, which corresponds roughly to the second half of the first book of this commentary in the Greek. In this volume, there are 6 main themes. Okay? The first main theme is a bit different from all the other ones, and it's prayer. This section of the commentary is about the beginning of the account of the creation of the world in the Timaeus, which is a narrative account. But before the narration really gets started, the character who gives this account, he sets out some basic groundwork for how to talk about the world and how to talk about its coming to be, how to do physics, so to speak. But before he does that, he says, wait, we need to pray before we embark on this great enterprise. So Proclus's first issue in this volume is prayer, right? How does prayer work? Where does it come from? And this was a very important reason for Proclus. Proclus starts his commentaries usually with prayers, and so this is the first issue in this work. The 5 other issues are more directly related to physics. They are the 5 basic axioms of natural philosophy, the 3 factors in the narrative account of the creation of the world, the status of natural science, what kind of knowledge it is, the creation of the world out of goodness and as the best possible world, and finally the uniqueness of the world. Let me go through these in order. So first of all, the 5 basic axioms of natural philosophy, the 5 basic hypotheses of that natural philosophy. What are these according to Proclus? That there is eternal being, and that it's known through intellectual intuition, noesis, together with reason, logos. Second, that there are created things, generated things, and that we know them through opinion, doxa, together with sense perception, aesthesis. Third, that what is generated comes to be through a cause. Whatever is generated has a cause. Fourth, that if what is generated according to an eternal model, it will be beautiful, but otherwise it won't. And fifth, that the name of the world is uranos, the heavens, or cosmos, the world. So in this section, you can see that Proclus will discuss basic facts, basic theses of not just physics, not just of his own physics, but of Platonist philosophy in general. What is eternal being? How is it known? What is this faculty of intellectual intuition, of noesis, that we're supposed to use to know it? How is it different from generated things, right? How, in what sense do generated things have a cause? And so these fundamentals of natural philosophy are really fundamentals for Platonic philosophy in general as we know it. And then after that, he goes into another issue, which is sort of what I called the 3 factors in the creation of the world. So in the Timaean account, there's a narrative of how a craftsman, a demiurge, an engineer, he takes up the chaotic matter of the world and he shapes it into an orderly whole by making it as much like a paradigm, a model that he takes. So there are 3 factors here. There's the demiurge, there's the world he makes, and then there's the model. And so Proclus goes in and asks about each one of these. Wait, what is this demiurge? What reality is being represented through this narrative figure? Where is it in the hierarchy of reality? Is it eternal? If it's eternal, where is it amongst the eternal realities? He asks the same thing about the paradigm, and he also goes into detail about what the world is. So these are 3 factors of the creation account that he goes into. After this, he goes into the question of the status of natural science. Plato in the Timaeus says that natural science, physics, can only be a likely story because its object, nature, changing things, are like the intelligible reality, are like eternal things that we know through intellectual intuition. So in what sense is physics a science? In what sense can we say that we actually know things and that we just don't, and instead of just having this likely knowledge, whatever that exactly means? Proclus goes into that. Furthermore, he then goes into the ultimate cause for the creation of the world, which is goodness. The goodness of its craftsman, of its engineer, who is a god who has no envy at all, and so he wants to share his goodness and make a product, a world that is as good as possible, and also ultimately the good itself. Right? That's also an ultimate cause for the creation of the world. And this also leads to a very important principle that the world, this world for Proclus, is the best possible world. And so these issues relating to the goodness of the world are the penultimate subject of this volume of the translation. And then finally, this book and volume end with a short monograph on the uniqueness of the world. And this is a really important subject for Proclus because it establishes that the right way to do physics is through cosmology, is through giving an account of the world, not through giving an abstract account of the principles of change, what is motion, what is time, what is place. That's what Aristotle did in his physics. Rather, the right way to do this is like in the Timaeus, you give an account of the world and its causes. Because the world isn't just something that happens to exist. It's not just that it happens to be the case that there's only one world. Rather, it's necessary that there's only one world. It's a conceptual necessity. Worldliness is something that belongs to generated, changing, perceptible things, the same way that temporality or time belongs to them. It's something that belongs to their essence, that they're all organized in a single ordered whole. And this is something that Proclus argues for at length. So to repeat, the subjects are prayer, a bit different from the others, then the 5 axioms of natural philosophy, the 3 factors in the creation account, demiurge, paradigm, world, the status of natural science, the goodness of the world and the goodness of the demiurge as a cause for its creation, and finally the uniqueness of the world. And so this will be interested for people who want to know more about the basics of Platonist philosophy, about the relationship between eternal things and changing things, what kind of knowledge can we have of each, whether there are many worlds or just one, and also, of course, people who are interested in prayer. And as a teacher of ancient philosophy, I'm happy to answer more questions about these and to guide people in the study of this and other volumes. Thank you.